Thanks for joining me. So today I'm talking about starting small, and not so much about the strategies of starting small, more about the reasons why starting small is a great idea. Now, I've been doing some research this week and I found some amazing quotes on starting small. So I thought I'd start with a few of those. So there's an old Chinese proverb, and the old Chinese proverb says, "It's better to take many small steps in the right direction than to take a great leap forward and stumble backward." That's a great one, isn't it? What about this one? About habits. Habit is a habit, not to be flung out the window by any man stroke woman, but coaxed downstairs a little step at a time. That's Mark Twain. Vincent van Gogh, I'm sure he got loads of stuff done, didn't he? Great things are not done by impulses, but by a series of small things brought together. Vincent van Gogh. And have a bias towards action. Let's see something happen now. You can break and break a big plan into small pieces and take the first step right away. And that was Indira Gandhi. So loads of people have written about starting with small steps, but I thought I'd look at here in the group why it's a good idea to start small. Well, the first one for me basically is it takes less time and energy, doesn't it? You know, if you start small and you might have a big plan, and that's fantastic. And sometimes getting to that stage of having the big plan takes lots of energy and lots of time. And what happens is people launch in and they run out of energy and they run out of time, and thus they run out of motivation. So I think when you start small and you break things down into small little tasks, or you start to introduce things slowly, then it feels like it takes less time and energy. Now, I think it's Atomic Habits. It talks about how do you start flossing your teeth. And the basic answer is one tooth first, and then you go to your next tooth and your next tooth, and you find that you get the momentum, and then you keep flossing your teeth. Quite simple as that. What about if you wanted to drink water? Now, if you don't drink water every day, you know my rule, every time I mention it, I have to drink it. Having 8 glasses of them might be too much. What you need to do is you build it up, and then it just becomes a habit, like it said in one of the quotes. Let's think of another health habit. What about eating fruit and eating veggies? Well, you could start by having one banana in the morning, and then at break time or whatever, having an apple, and then having an orange after your lunch. But you could do it 1 week at a time and start influencing and start adding that extra bit of fruit into that and focusing on those small victories, That's why I try and do the 5 things a day. I try and do 5 things on my to-do list a day. It's a small victory. And as these victories go forward, then you start to build momentum and you start to get stuff done. What else then? What's another reason? Well, overwhelm. People get overwhelmed sometimes with starting with large ideas. They feel overwhelmed. They may be trying to do too much at the same time. They may be they've got their work, maybe on a Monday to a Friday, or however that works out, or an evening, or how it works. And then they try and do things at weekends, and they miss out on the downtime, and it becomes overwhelming. So doing just things in small steps allows you to reduce the overwhelm. Climbing a mountain is a huge, huge thing, isn't it? But, if you climb a mountain, you have a little rest, and you have a little rest, and a little rest. Or you start with little hills or little bumps, and then you move your way up to climbing a mountain. That helps you get rid of that overwhelm. Once you start small, you know that you can't do everything all at the same time. And this allows you to scale your work and move your work into small chunks. Reason number 3 for me is about motivation, okay? If you've got those goals and you want to progress, starting small allows you to grow in confidence and motivation. You get those little wins, don't you? And there's loads of ways of doing this. People do different things that they treat themselves. So they're doing a piece of work. You might have little chocolates and Smarties on their desktop, and they can only have one when they've done. I can never do that, by the way. They might have little tick charts, or they may have little visual things that they see. Or some people actually stand up and celebrate and give themselves a round of applause, or give themselves a high five and say they've done it or play their favorite music. And that's good because that gets that confidence and motivation built into your system. Number 4 for me is all about reviewing, and what you can do is you do small steps. You can review along the way and you can make changes along the way. Okay, so if you've got you've planned and you've got small steps, you can review and stop. Now, I do a weekly review every week. I do my 5 questions. What am I grateful for? What went well? What didn't go well? What have I learned and what want to do differently? That's 4 question 4. And the last one is, what 5 things am I going to do next week? And that allows me each week just to take a step, take a stop and take a review moment. So when you do small steps and you have those little review moments, then that can really help you with your momentum. I'm finishing writing my book at the minute, and that's what I've been doing all weekend. And I discovered that the way to stop overwhelmed with that is, what I do is I plan my sessions, and then I have a little startup when I go and get my intention in my head, right, what I'm going to be doing in that session. I also review what I've done in my last session. I get on and do what I'm doing, and that might be in little breaks and then what I do at the end is do a review and see how I've been doing. And then that is my sort of process for doing jobs now, and not only writing books, but planning presentations or writing reports. It's important to do that little review step, because step 4 for me about starting small, it allows you to change. It also allows you to say, you know what, I'm not going to continue with this anymore. It's done. Or you can say to yourself, I need help with this. And what does that mean? Well, you can ask somebody for help, you can pay for help, you can barter for help. You might decide, it's not worth my energy, my time, my money, my relationship time. I'll get someone else to do it. And by investing in someone else to do it, then basically what that means is that you can get the job done quickly, and then you can focus your energies on something else. And then finally, the fifth reason why for me that starting small is, it's that first step, isn't it? You can be overwhelmed, you can have lots of things to do, but you get that small step going, you get that little tiny bit of action going, and that gives you momentum to carry on. And I like to call this the flywheel effect. So you imagine little wheel drives the big wheel, okay? I don't know how this comes out on the screen, but your little wheel drives the big wheel. So if you imagine a bike, like a cycle, and you pedal, your pedal wheel, right, is a little tiny wheel, and as you pedal, your pedaling gets the big wheel going, and the big wheel going gets momentum, and then you steer with the front wheel, don't you? That's what happens. So that is called the flywheel, and you'll see in machinery, to get big machinery going, there's often a little wheel or a little cog that turns, and then it gets things going and the flywheel going. It's the same with starting small. If you concentrate on the little flywheel get going, the big wheel will look after itself, that little flywheel. So if you think about it on a bike, so you got your little wheel with the pedals on, that's why that wheel isn't massive, okay? That's why that wheel isn't massive. Now if you would have seen an old penny farthing, which was the big wheel and then the little wheel at the back, they weren't effective at all. Imagine the power that you had to get that big wheel going. That's why we have little wheels, and they are called flywheels. So I would suggest you think about starting small and ask your question, what is the flywheel in this activity that's going to get it going quicker, more effective, and more timely? What is your flywheel? And I think I should have that perhaps maybe as a start quote. A quote is Steve, what is your flywheel? Steve Kelly. There we go. Let's go back to those quotes, actually. Let's look at some of the other ones. The man who removes a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. Chinese proverb. It does not matter how slowly you go, so as long as you don't stop. That was Confucius. What about this one? Do small things with great love. Mother Teresa. Brilliant quote there. Robert Louis Stevenson. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but the seeds that you plant. Oh, wow. We all know that one, don't we? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. One may walk over the highest mountain, but it has to be at one step at a time. That was John Wanamaker. And the last quote I'm going to leave you with is Oprah Winfrey, and this is a fantastic quote. And I want to get it right this time, because when I read it out in the last one, I didn't read it out right. So here we go. The key to realizing a dream is to focus not on success, but on significance. And then every small step and little victories along the path will take on greater meaning. Brilliant quote. And that's all about what I was saying earlier, wasn't it? About those small steps and winning it and getting motivation. So I hope you enjoyed that. My 5 reasons then for starting small are: takes less time and energy is number 1. Number 2, it prevents you getting overwhelmed and brain fuzz and all that. Number 3, confidence, motivation. Oh yeah, that great feeling, that brilliant feeling. So you went from that feeling of sort of overwhelmed to now being confident and motivated about what you're doing. Take time to stop, take that time to to review and see where you're up to, and then make those changes along the way. And then the last one, of course, is use the flywheel, that simple little flywheel to keep you going. And